Welcome everybody to Turtle Talk today, or the Turtle and Crow Show. Barb isn't feeling up to the show today. She's feeling a little under the weather, so she is going to go ahead and take the day off. But we do have Luca here, and Chris Vlaar is with us again. And today, yay! It's going to be a really good show. You know, last week we talked a little bit, we've been talking a lot about the sacred feminine, and today we're going to talk about the warriors and what it truly means to be a warrior, which is quite different from the definition that they have today. We're going to go back to the tribal definitions of warriors. We're going to talk a little bit about what it truly means in our culture. And we have Chris here and we have Luca here, who are raring to go, because this has been something that they have both been all about for a very, very long time. So I'm really awesome, happy, because thanks to Gaz, Brother Gaz, we are on air, and I am actually running my own broadcast today, which was really a feat in itself. So thank you, Brother Dear, for being part of that and helping it get done. And hey to everybody in the chat. Hey, Angel and Darby and Lizzie, my beautiful Love Bubbles sister. And Stephen, I see you there with your short hair. I don't know what I think about that, but I love you anyway. And of course, Stone Hobbit, I love you. Troy Johnson, moo to you, and you know I love you too. And so we're ready to go. Before we get started, though, I have to let you know that you are listening to the Turtle and Crow Show on peopleforpeople.ning.com. And if you aren't a member of the site and you're not in the chat, why not? You need to be here, because we got the most awesome people of any site on the net, and I can say that because I'm here, and if you're not here, then you need to experience what I'm experiencing. And anyway, you can also, if you're in chat, you have the ability to, if you look to the right of the chat, there are quick links for just about everything that you could possibly want to know about what's going on today, in every realm, in every aspect. In the health, in religion, in government, in society, in self-awareness, in healing. I mean, you name it, and we've got it here. And you can also go to our Facebook page. We do have a Facebook page, People for People Radio. And if you just share that out, a lot of other people will be able to get the information. We also have a YouTube channel, and it's also People for People, and .ning.com, People for People Radio.ning.com. You can check it out, and you can pass and share out our videos. It's very easy to download. Check them out. Anyway, having said that, we are here today, and we are going to be talking about the warriors and what it means truly to be a warrior. And I'm really, really happy. Barb has gotten us a couple of links today, which she's so good at. And I'm going to copy this first link, because this is the first thing we're going to cover. And after I'm done talking, I'm going to let Luca take it, and he is going to discuss this link that I've just passed, and then we're going to let Chris go after that, and I'm going to follow them up, because this is the Warriors' Day anyway. So, and with that being said, Luca, I know that you've been under the weather a little bit. You're feeling a little bit better, though, I hope now.
Well, this is kind of how I wanted to open up the show, and I hope I'm not talking too loud, because some people said I was very loud the last show, so if we can make sure that I'm not too loud. I'm putting the mic away from my voice, my face as well. Do I sound okay like that?
You sound okay to me, but we'll get it from the chat. There's just a little bit of a delay from the time you speak to when it makes it to the chat, so we'll have to give them a few seconds. to catch up to us to see if your volume is good. So just let us know, guys.
Yeah, basically I'm just very grateful for being alive and well, and I'm realizing that a lot of your health, if not all of it, comes from within. And that's one of the things that, I was on the tip of the iceberg before, and I knew it, and I was really proud of it. And now I'm just going down the iceberg, even underwater, where most of it is, and I'm finding out the powers that are inside each one of us individually, how strong we are, how just our intention does wonders for us, or can literally kill us, one or the other. It's all about our intention. It's all about where our headspace is at. It's all about our attitude. And I've never been more sick in my life physically, and I've never been more positive in my life mentally. So there's a balance there somewhere, and I'm achieving it at the moment. And I'm achieving it through just watching everybody else. And, most people are lost. Most people are they're not focusing on themselves. They're just walking zombies from what I can tell. And, it's really good to be on the show again. It's great to have Chris with us, because he's another one of my mentors, and he's a great brother to have. And he's been faithful. He's been loyal. He's been, a very important part of my life in the last few years, and my motivation as well. And, Patty, it's great to be able to be on the show and share some time with you again. And yes, we should talk about the Native American Code of Ethics, because, sadly, 9 out of 10, quote, Native Americans, unquote, that I'm watching in my life are just, they're after themselves. They're out there to make a profit. They're not focusing on the good. And as we can see, I'm going to have fun with number 18, because that's exactly what I'm supposed to be talking about. So I don't want to talk too much at first. I just want to give everybody a chance. And Chris, it's good to have you on the show with us.
Yeah, thank you, Luca. Thanks for the invitation. And you are one of my mentors as well. And like you said, I think we become pretty good friends over the years. I don't know since when we are friends on Facebook, something like 3-4 years or so.
Yeah.
And I always learn a lot from your posts on Facebook, and every now and then we talk with each other on Skype, and always very interesting conversation. And I noticed that quite often we seem to complement each other.
Yes.
And I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
Well, it's time to rock and roll. Patty, what do you got? If she's with us. Oh, hope we didn't lose her yet.
Nope.
No, she's here. Okay.
I just want to preface before we get started that what we're about to talk about is it says Native American Code of Ethics, but these are ethics that are beyond a cultural aspect, really. When we start reading these out, we will, I think, all agree that these are ethics that each and every one of us can identify with. But what they do is they remind us. They remind us of who we truly are and who we can truly be. Because today we have a really adulterated sense of ourselves and who we are. We've been told by so many different parts of society who we should be, how we should be, why we should be, and we've kind of adopted those things. It's like with the today, when you mention a warrior, the first thing that comes to people's mind is somebody in the military, somebody with a gun, somebody who's going to create war or is going to go to war. And it's not what the word should imply, because warriors are those who stand, and they stand in truth, and they stand for their people, and they are there to protect them, yes, but they are also there to make sure that they have what they need, that they are in a place of comfort, that they are in a place of security. And to do this, they have to have certain traits within themselves that will allow them to be able to look at life in a sacred manner, so to speak, because all life is sacred. All life is sacred. One can't say that the tree is sacred, but the person standing under it isn't, because the person has an axe. Either way, both things are sacred. It is just the way in which they exist that has any difference in definition. You know, I don't know if I said that clear enough, but we'll get to that later as we go. But do you guys want to? I want to start at number 1 and work our way on through. So how do you guys want to handle that? Do you want to read out, Luca or Chris? Do you want to start, or how shall we do this?
Chris wants to go to number 3, so why don't I start?
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
There's a beautiful quote from Tecumseh, who's Shawnee, from the Ohio River Valley tribes, and he always said that if upon awakening you do not find a reason to give thanks or to be grateful for your eyes, for your ears, for your health and your life, he said there's nobody to blame but yourself. The fault lies only in yourself. And it couldn't be truer for me, because this is how my life has become. I have a beautiful vase right over the top of my bed, and every morning I raise my hand and I touch the sage with my hand, as if to say, thank you, Creator, for giving me another beautiful day, not to rise in pain. And here the first one of the Code of Ethics says, rise with the sun to pray alone, pray often. The Great Spirit will listen if you will only speak.
That also has to do with, I want to add a little bit in on that what we talk about with intent, what is our intent, and the ability that we have to form vibration through frequencies. You don't have to pray, Great Spirit. You can also put it out to the universe. Just put it out there. I know that there are many people there of many different religions and all. We're not here to say one is better than the other, because none of them are better than any other. It is your intent, your ability to produce that frequency, that vibration, and if we rise and with gratefulness in our hearts, that's what the universe brings back to us. Just saying. Yeah, go ahead.
Very quickly, before Chris says anything, I just have to throw this in. It's got everything to do with intent, and I really believe that Creator being inside us as living beings, when we talk to Creator out loud, or we can talk to the universe like Patty was saying, we're hearing ourselves talk, and we're lining ourselves up to get what we ask for, or to get what our intent is. I've always believed that, and it really fits in with number 1, I think.
Well, I agree with that. You sort of took the words right out of my mouth. I think the intent is very important. A prayer, it has to come from the heart. It's, everybody can read a couple of lines, but that is not praying. It has to be, the intent has to be there. It has to come from the bottom of your heart. Otherwise, to my opinion, it hasn't got any power at all. If you just do it because you are told to do it, then I think you got quite a learning curve to go.
Mm.
And that's another reason for you never to say, you must pray this way, you have to pray that way.
Exactly.
It should never be someone else's words. It should always be from your
yours.
heart. Yes.
Yeah. Very true.
Beautiful. I couldn't agree more.
Okay, so now we're at number 2, I think, right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead, Patty.
Okay, it says, be tolerant of those that are lost on their paths. Ignorance, conceit, anger, jealousy, and greed stem from lost souls. Pray that they will find guidance. Again, there will be those who will, and I have to step in here because I don't believe that there are lost paths. I believe that all paths are going to lead to the same destination. It is the experience and what you take from it. And yes, there are those who are in ignorance, conceit, anger, jealousy, and greed. But I do not believe in lost souls. I can't believe in that because I know that we are dealing with the energy of creation, and it is always and ever. Just saying, But
interesting.
Indeed, I do believe that we should always, instead of cursing them, pointing out their faults, that we should instead pray that their path leads them where they need to be. Just saying.
I think what they mean by, well, what I feel that they're saying from lost souls is that they're lost. They're chewing and spitting out what they've been taught. They're not focusing on themselves. They don't understand the inner part of themselves, and they're just running on autopilot. I think that's what so many people around me, I see that.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
And we found our way.
It's the way I see it. It's that I see so many people who lost their how can I say it, that contact with God, with the Creator, whatever name you want to give it. Mm-hmm. And they find a God in television, in their iPhones, and
in money. Yeah.
And money, of course, power, and I've been there myself, and once you realize what you're missing by not having that contact, I think then you start to get back on the path again, and you have to always be aware to stay on your path, and give thanks to the Creator, to God, for what you've been given, and indeed pray for the people who are lost on their path, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I think for me, I don't believe in God. I believe in the Creator. I believe they're two separate things. That the Creator is just that, the Creator of all things, and that gods are what men devise to rule themselves. Just saying.
Yeah, that's going to be something I'm going to bring up a little later on, because that's very important. People that they're not lost at all. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're serving themselves, and they're acting like spiritual people, but they're not at all. And there's something else that I want to talk about charging for a spiritual ceremony that I just find just absolutely abhorrent. I really do. It's horrible, but it's stuff that everybody's doing around me, and I'm watching it all happen. And I really find myself in that, what we just said about trying to forgive them, try not to judge them. In other words, do to them what you would hope that they would do for you. but it's just horrifying. And
Yeah.
because you're so profoundly anchored in your spirituality, personally, it's an insult. It really is. It's an insult to your spirituality, and it's very easy to call somebody out on it. So
Well,
I have to be really careful.
Angel just asked, how can you not believe in God? Well, which God are you talking about, Angel? Because there's one for everybody. Everybody's got a different God. Everybody. You got the Hindus have their God, the Christians have their God, the Greeks have their God. It doesn't matter. Everybody's got a God. There's only one Creator. That's who I am. That's where I am. I believe there is a Creator. There's no one that could ever convince me that there is not. I am here. We are here. There is a Creator. But the Creator is more than a God. A God is something that is created to say, here, say these prayers. Here, obey these laws.
Religion,
Creator's
yes.
laws are different. Just saying. That's where I am. Yeah.
That's religion. Yeah, that's religion. One person is standing up telling everybody else what they should be doing and how they should pray and what they should believe. And spirituality is the exact opposite. Just saying. I'm going to start saying that. I'm going to start saying that.
Yeah, Gaz says, so the source or creator has to be elevated above a God. To me, yes. To me, God implies, if there weren't so many, pick a color, pick a flavor, you've got a God that has to do with that. Even people consider Satan to be a God. And the way I see it, the gods that I've learned about in my research are no more than, if we go there, let's go there, let's touch on either aliens or something similar to that. They are people that they are flesh and bone. The Creator is beyond that. Creator has no form to me. There cannot be a Creator to me that has form, that takes form other than what we see in life. Each of us are part of the Creator. We're part of creation, the energy of creation. If we believe that when we leave here, we go back to the source can't be a God to me. The source is the energy of that creation, right? And the Creator is the one who is the prime of that energy of creation to me. And I know you don't have to agree with me. You really don't, and it's okay. This is just me. This is just how I see it. Just saying.
And Patty, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to hear you say that, because your strength in your belief allows you to say it. And if you're really strong in your belief, you don't really care what people think. That's fine. You can believe whatever you want. This is me, and we can, happily agree to disagree. Period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't behoove you any. Your belief is just as important to you, and your perspective, however you wish to see it, whatever you put your faith in. Because to me, it's all about the frequency and vibration of the energy of creation, My mom used to say something, and I know this is going to sound really crass, but if it floats your boat,
Yeah.
If it brings you peace, if it brings you enlightenment, if it brings you to a place of inner bliss, then that's where you need to be, It all comes out in the end, because we're all going to the same place. We're all going to be there, I don't know, just saying.
I think what Patty's saying also is that the term God is more like religion. It's more outward. It's more of a general thing. And I know this is getting into a touchy subject, but spirituality is the opposite. It's a personal journey. It's for you. It's something that has nothing to do with anybody else. And it's your call. And, every single day when we wake up, like Tecumseh says again, he says that, we have the right, we have the choice to do good or bad, to follow our greed or, our agenda, which is what I'm really stupefied by the way, in my surroundings. But that's something that has to come out, and it will. Chris, you wanted to read number 3?
Yes, yeah. Search for yourself by yourself. Do not allow others to make your path for you. It is your road and yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but no one can walk it for you. And I think that's what Patty said here before. That's sort of what she means. Yeah, it's your path, and yeah, search for yourself by yourself. Even the people who are listening to us now, what we are saying, don't take it for granted and do your own research. And as Luca always say, learn to unlearn. We all have from our past, well, I have anyway, we got so much garbage from your upbringing. You have to be like this, you have to do this, you have to go to school, and you have to find a job, you have to start a family, at some point, once you go down that rabbit hole, there is no going back. And one of my sayings that sort of goes hand in glove with what Luca always says is think for yourself, yeah, and investigate even your own thoughts. Well, that's what I do anyway. Is this right what I'm thinking? Where does it fit in? And maybe ask others from, what do you think of this? Not just to broaden your mind. To find your truth. So indeed, to find your path on this journey, and not somebody else's, but yours.
Yep.
Chris, that reminds me of that post on Facebook again, that says that if you're not ready to challenge your beliefs, you're your best prison warden.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, go on.
It's so true, Chris, that if you cannot make that personal connection with your creator, or whatever name, if you need someone else to tell you how to make that connection, then you're making a connection for that person. You're not making your connection, Yeah.
Yeah, and then you start to walk somebody else's path and not yours.
I'll take it even further than that. Given my example, and I don't want to sound crass, but it is going to come out a little crass, if you don't mind me saying so, but it adds to the reality that I'm living right now. Up to 3 days ago, I was urinating blood, okay? And that spells horror to most people that I know. But I look at the situation and it's like, hey, it's okay. There's nowhere to go but up. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe. You've got to love yourself. And I'm sitting there starting to talk to myself and starting to realize how I'm in it by myself. There's no running to the ER. No. Sit down, think of what's going on, think of what you have, think of the tools that you have. I can bring down my personal pain by about 3 notches just by meditating. And I got myself out of it. I've got the right medicines that my instinct told me what to choose, believe it or not. And peeing clear as a whistle now, and no more pain. I think it's about personal sacrifice. If I can go that stretch, it's about the sacrifice that you make to honor your belief. If that makes any sense, I think it does. It's how far are you going to go to defend what you really believe, and that's what anchors you in the power of your own belief and spirituality. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Oh, we lost her again.
I'm here. Okay. Chris, do you have anything else?
I don't think I've ever nailed it like that before.
Yes, you have. Yes. I love you, Luca. I love your heart. But Chris, is there anything more you want to add to number 3 before we move on to number 4?
No, I think we covered most of it. Yeah.
Okay, so number 4. Treat the guest in your home with much consideration. Serve them the best food. Give them the best beds and treat them with respect and honor. And this is something that I was taught as a child and what I've taught my family. And it goes outside of the home too. Always put your best self forward and always be willing to offer to those who have less, what you can. I think it's very profound.
Yes, and if I may add something too, as far as learning and acquiring responsibility and becoming more of a spiritual person, I think it's our responsibility to go back and to give a hand to those people who aren't or weren't as fortunate as we are in our learning experience. It's kind of like a very, very important internationally known drummer who goes back to help the people that are still in the garage or in the basement, hammering away at a band that they just started, and that's what gives everybody the jolt of motivation, like, wow, look who we have among us, and it's kind of the same thing with spirit. I really believe that. And
if I can add something to it,
yes.
That's my experience. It's since probably the last 20 years or so, as I've been through a lot of changes myself, and I get so much gratitude out of giving. And I notice many people, and including me, they have a problem with receiving. For instance, I grow my own vegetables, and I got sometimes so much. And first of all, I cannot stand wasting food. It's all proper organic food, so, I give it away. But many people have problems with it in receiving. But it gives me, by giving it away, it gives me just also a very good feeling. So, by giving, you receive also.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Well, Chris, let me have all the vegetables you can. Just throw them over here.
With all pleasure.
Yeah, and that's, most people don't get it. If people understood the blessings that you get from doing good to others and for others, they would be standing in line to do good if they knew. But they don't.
Yeah.
They think of themselves, the more money they make, the more they want. It's like folded arms. No, you're not getting a penny. I can't fathom that kind of thought. And what Chris is talking about, that feeling that you get, that good feeling, it's not ego. The good feeling, it's actually polar opposite from ego. The feeling that you get from giving, because, I have a 92-year-old neighbor right next door that I could be ignoring completely. I end up driving for her, like the movie Driving Miss Daisy. I call it Driving Miss Carol, because I'm driving her around, I'm helping her, and I'm talking to her, and I open the door for her, and it's really hard for her to walk, and it's physically anchoring me in my own spirituality even more. It's amazing. So it's good. That's good, Chris.
Yeah, I can very much relate to that. I can remember last year, and I had 20 tomato plants or so in my polytunnel, and I was off to Holland for a week, and my neighbors and also very good friends, young family, 4 kids, I said, please come in and pick these tomatoes every day, because otherwise they rot. But they didn't want to be greedy, what is very good of them. And I said, we you left all these tomatoes. Some fell off and were rotting. And yeah, she said, but I didn't want to take it all. It was so much. I said, yeah, but now they're rotting. I said, and I told you to. So, don't hesitate, and please, next time do it, because you upset me more by letting them rot than if you would take them all. And, so it's, it's absolutely, you get so much back from it, and I don't do it to get respect, but, I do get respect back, and of course I appreciate that, very much.
I also think that this is Spirit's way of protecting itself, because those that don't understand it, those that don't respect it, won't get it.
No.
And I think that's a self-protection type of mechanism for creative, for spirituality or whatever you want to call it. What do you think, Patty? Number 5?
Well, Stone is saying, but you're getting something energy-wise as well, which is true. When you are giving, when you are treating with respect, when you are offering that which is in need, that energy is going to come back to you. It's going to reciprocate. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Barb talks about it a lot.
Good or bad.
Yes.
Yes.
And then we've got number 5. Do not take what is not yours, whether from a person, a community, the wilderness, or from a culture. It was not earned nor given. It is not yours. And that again speaks to, at least the latter part of that, from a culture. What they're meaning by this to me is each culture has their own lore, their own ceremonies. These are cultural things. If you want and if you feel a connection to that culture and the way they do things, then your prayers and your ceremony should be of your own making in each and every case. And especially even in the Native Americans, we have certain tribal cultures and ceremonies that are specific to tribes, yet each individual in that tribe also has their own ceremonies, their own songs, their own prayers and things, and that's what it should be. It is good to join in. You go and you visit a different culture, and they welcome you in, and they bring you in, and they will entertain you into their culture and ask you to join in some of their ceremonies and stuff. That's perfectly all right. That's not, I don't think, what it's talking about. What they're talking about is taking those ceremonies and taking them out of that culture and then adulterating them, which is taking the meaning away from those ceremonies. It's similar to, you see these people that have these gauges that they put in their ears and things, and the piercings that they have. Those were originally meant in sacred ceremonies. They were done in tribal ceremonies that had specific meanings behind them, and they were sacrifices that were made by the people who did these things, and rites of passage of achievements and things that they did. Once it comes out of that, everybody's walking around with these gauges and these piercings, and it loses its significance in that culture. So the culture is then minimized. It's marginalized, and they are losing that cultural significance. I think that's what that is talking about. Anyway.
Interesting. It's prostituting, basically. Yeah. And it's theft. It's just, I hate to use the word sin, but I think we all understand what I mean by that.
You see, in the case of a sweat lodge, there's nothing wrong with you going and building a sweat lodge, because a sweat lodge is awesome. It's wonderful. But when you portray it as a certain tribal ceremony, sweat lodge, then you have adulterated it. You have taken that culture and hijacked it. Now, if you were to say, this is my inipi. This is my ceremony. This is how I have received my vision to do it, without incorporating that tribal name or anything like that. To me, that's all right. That's good, and that's just, in that way. But there are other ceremonies like the gauging and things like this that I truly feel are an injustice to the cultures, because that is specific to their sacredness and ceremony of stature and how they have succeeded in their vision quest or whatever it was that they were to attain. It had a spiritual significance, a sacredness to it. And when you see all these people walking on the street with these gauges in their ears and everything, you don't think about that. It doesn't come into your mind that was a sacred rite of that tribal culture. And when you see a tribal, it's like the Maori, the women, they tattoo their faces. And that's specific. Now we have women who are tattooing their faces, but only because they thought it was cool, So it diminishes the sacredness that these Maori women went through, Just saying. I don't know.
Chris, let me just throw this in before you say something, because we're on a really good track here. On Facebook one time, I was going through Facebook, and I was really upset with one of my spiritual people that I know. I use the word spiritual very lightly in this case, and I was really angry with him because I didn't agree, and I could see that he was prostituting Native American tradition, or the original teachings. Okay, and the next day I come upon this perfect post for me, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't know it by heart. And it says, "I am most weary of those who cry out, 'God is with me and has me in his favor,' because most of the time their own version of what God wants and stands for seems to coincide exactly with their own wishes and their own agenda." Okay, now isn't that exactly what we're talking about? It's cultural appropriation, misappropriation. I'm going to take a little bit of this. Oh, I think I'll go take a little bit of the Christianity because I think that fits in with this. You're making a soup, for God's sake, in your own kitchen. I wish I could have had more time to find that incredible oration by Afraid of His Horses. I think I shared that one time on the show, Patty, where he's saying that the Lakota today are an absolute insult to the Lakota of times past, because the children are abused and are malnourished. The parents are no longer parents. It's so well said, and I'll probably find it after the show's over. But that's what I see in that statement.
All of this came from, I'll do a quickie, all of this came from, we see the degeneration of the culture of Native America. The elders are no longer heard, they're no longer respected, they're no longer significant, and we see the degradation that has come about because they've walked away from that cultural way of living. They've walked away from their connection. It's the same thing with all of us here. All of us were indigenous at one time, and things had meaning in our lives. Life had meaning. The simple act of walking upon the earth had a significance to us that we understood, and we had that connection, and we walked with that connection, and we lived that connection. But because of the way that things are adulterated, because of the way that we are made to forget who and where we come from, we lose that connection also that kept us connected to each other and connected to the earth and our Creator. We see this in our tribes now, but it's been in all of the other tribes. We look at people and we see them as not being tribal, but I don't. I see everyone. as being tribal. I see people who have lost their culture, just like we are losing ours now. And I see no difference, you know. And we will be, if we don't change and go back to that connection, then we will be the same, and the whole of the world will have lost who and where they come from. And to me, that's sad. It really is sad, you know. And I think that sometimes maybe through our voices, if we keep on speaking up, and people are going back to their sacred cultures, to their sacred ceremonies, to their beliefs that they had, and before religions, you know, before the advent of society and all of those things. I think that this is important. I do think it's important. That's why I'm always saying, you know, we should remember who and where we came from, because that's where our truth is. That's where our connection is, you know? Just saying. Go ahead.
Yeah. When I was reading this at first, I was thinking of a slightly different angle, and it reminded me a couple of weeks ago I needed to get 2 brackets to make a shelf. And I put the brackets, I say, into each other, so I came at the till, and they charged me for 1. So I said, no, I have 2. Now, probably the old Chris would have thought something along the lines like, well, you know, if that man doesn't see it, that's not my fault, and I got 1 free bracket. Or if they would give change back from, let's say, 20 euros while it was 10, now I would say, no, sorry, I gave you 10 euros and not 20. But, you know, I think it's very well connected to what you two said. You have to be, you might gain a few euros or dollars there, but you are also not true to yourself, because I would have taken something that is not mine, and it's also in that example, it's my fault, not the guy behind the till. It's my fault because I know there are 2, and I shouldn't take them. I also know now that the feeling it gives me in being honest, you know, it gives me like a buzz. When I come out of that shop, it gives me a buzz. While if the old Chris, if he would have just taken it, he didn't get a buzz. Yeah, it was like, oh, I got 1 for free, great, you know. But it's no, it's just not right. And I think that should go through, you know, being honest through all of your life. But what Patty said, and what you said, it's with the ceremony, with the tradition, but mainly be honest with yourself, because if you take something, you take it first of all from yourself. Just saying.
And it doesn't matter, you know, I've heard people try to justify, well, they've got so many of them anyway.
Exactly, yeah, that one as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a justification, because somewhere, somehow, someone has made it, created it, paid for it, and you took it, and now they don't have it. Regardless of how many they had, it didn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter, you know. Yeah.
It's not yours, and you shouldn't take it. If they got millions of them, or 1, that doesn't matter. You just should not take what is not yours.
Yep. And now we're on to 6. We ready for 6?
Yeah.
Okay. 6 is, and I love this one, respect all things that are placed upon this earth, whether people, animal, or plant. Honor the spirit in all things. And to me, this is what it's always been about. To me, this is key. You know, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, we want to hear you speak. I thought...
Well, I was just going to say that in life, we go through our life and we have throwaway things. The meaning of life has gotten so shallow that there are people who think it's okay. You know, I used to tell my kids and my family all the time, we don't throw people away. We just don't do that. If someone comes into your life and they're in need, you don't throw them away. And it's the same thing with the animals. An animal in need, you take an animal into your home. Oh, well, I don't like the way it's acting. I'm just going to get rid of it. No, you don't throw things away. It's a disrespect to self. It's a disrespect to all life. You know, the thing of it is that we take it upon ourselves to domesticate everything. We choose to go out and to gather up the things that are living their lives from the wild, and we take them out of their environment and their habitat, and we bring them here and we domesticate them because we decided we wanted a pet. We wanted to have that cutie. And when it's not so cute anymore, we just decide we don't want it anymore. Or we go into nature and we say, oh, beautiful, beautiful nature. Let's plow down them trees and put our house right there in nature so that we can be in nature. And they do this. And then they want to shoot the animals that come and start like, oh, I'm missing my dog. Oh, there's a bobcat. Kill that bobcat. What? You moved into their nature. You disrespected their home. You took their territory from them that they would hunt. Then you put fast food in your backyard and expect them not to want to take it. And then you shoot them when they do. To me, it's just a high form of disrespect when we look at life as expendable at our request. If I want you, you're good to go. I'll take care of you. But the moment I don't want you, hey, Jack, you're out of here. You know, that's horrible to me. Horrible. Horrible. You know? Just saying.
That's what Native Americans called the white people back then. It was the European mindset. And it still is more than ever now. And there are more Native Americans again. And I'm sorry to stress this today, but this is really, really upsetting me. There are more Native Americans that I see today that are acting like, you know, the European mindset, to be very polite. And that's what it is, you know. Nature is here to serve me. You know, it's absolutely polar opposite to what my heart feels. And that's why when I first heard the Native Americans speak, using the same words, but completely different in meaning, and I just fell in love with it.
There's a little bit in the chat right here that I've got to put my 2 cents in. You know, we do go out in nature. If we didn't go out in nature and take from nature, we wouldn't exist. Okay? Nature takes from nature to exist. It's the unnecessary taking of nature.
Exactly.
It is doing it without utilizing what you have taken. It's doing it and then disregarding and discarding what you took, disrespecting what you took. And I don't like the term that is used to refer to the people, the Europeans or whoever, as white people. I do not like that phrase because to me it is derogatory to people who have no intention or no determination to be in that way. To me, it is just like calling a Native woman a squaw. It is a derogatory term that I can't handle, you know. People are people, and it doesn't matter what color you are. We've all been adulterated in that respect. And the thing of colonization started way, way back when. And every people have been involved in colonization. Even the native peoples have been involved in colonizing different areas and taking from others at some point. We can't keep playing the blame game. To me, what we've got to start doing is realizing why we were made to do it and making the changes that stop us from doing it. Bringing us together. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, this number 7, that reminds me, a couple of years ago here in France, neighbor of mine, and a fox killed his chicken. Okay, the guy was not happy, and I can fully understand that. And and he really, he was like, I'm gonna shoot the effing bastard, and that sort of language. I said, hold on, mate. I said that foxes were here before you were here. It's their territory, and if you have chicken, it's your duty to protect them, that the fox cannot get to them. So don't blame the fox, blame yourself for it. The fox was just doing what foxes do. And it's the reasoning behind it. Again, a sort of a blame game. It's not my fault. It's the fox's fault, and that needs to be shot. And I find it very disrespectful towards the fox. And in this example, the guy, he should take responsibility.
Yeah. And Patty, with all that, we're coming up to the top of the hour. Did you want to take a short break? Thought it might be a good idea, since I'm positively turning yellow. She'll be right back probably.
Coffee
and
coffee
I
out.
think that might be a good idea to do.
Yeah. Yes,
but
I am here. I am here.
Okay.
I'm working on 2 mutes on and I always forget to turn the one off. Is why you're hearing these delays from me. So I'm gonna try to get better. But this is me. You guys should know me by now, right?
We love you.
Gotta love me. Gotta love me. I'm the biggest hemorrhoid there is. Anyway.
Oh, cute.
Thanks for that.
Okay, here we go, and we'll see you on the other side, folks. We'll be back. And welcome back, everybody, to Turtle Talk, or Turtle and Crow Show. I got too many shows. I can't keep track.
Cute.
But we are talking today with Luca and Chris, and we are reading about the Wisdom Warriors and what it means to actually be a warrior, not by today's standards, but by the connection that we all share with creation. And I think that before we move on, it does go with number 6, what you wanted to talk about, Luca. So if you want to add that in before we move on to number 7.
It works really good with number 18 too.
Okay, you want to hold it there then?
I think I should, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So number 8 says...
No, we're on 7.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on 7.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Honor other people's thoughts, wishes, and words. Never interrupt another. Ooh, that's a hard one. Don't never interrupt another, mock or rudely mimic them. Allow each person the right to personal expression. Wow. Okay. What I see in there, it's all coming from a completely balanced, a completely spiritual mind. I mean, that's great. I don't know many people that can do number 7. Tell you the truth. And it's something that you don't do automatically, just naturally, when you're spiritually balanced. You don't make fun of other people. You honor everybody's thoughts, and that reminds me of what Thomas Paine said in a book of his. I'm not sure I remember the name of the book, but in the introduction, he says that, here are my thoughts on religion, and he says, please do not judge me for my way of thinking, because people that judge other people, they automatically put a cap on themselves, because they're stopping themselves from ever being able to expand. It's really interesting. So what I got from that was that in number 7 was that everybody should allow everybody else freedom of expression, freedom of thought, freedom of religion, freedom of whatever they choose.
But Luca, let's say, just for an example, honor other people's wishes and thoughts. But what if the thoughts and wishes are, killing my neighbor or
then hey, you honor them, you move on, you pray for them, and you don't say anything. This is what I love about the Native American tradition. If you don't believe in something, if you don't agree with something, you just turn around and walk away. Because
but I think I personally would have problems with honoring a person like that with that sort of thoughts and wishes.
Oh, well, what they mean to me by honoring is just, accepting it as, that's the way it is, that's the way they want it, move on. I don't think they mean honor it like as what we think it might mean. I think they mean just to honor the person, in other words, to just accept the person who they are and just move on if you don't believe it.
Right,
well,
okay.
Here's the deal, too, is that turn it back and say, is it good that my thoughts are my thoughts and that I can accept them and you don't have to? Is it good that I have opinions and things and you don't have to accept them? I think that's good. Doesn't mean that I have to be silent. It doesn't mean that I don't have a right to have my thoughts or opinions. In the case of harm, okay, we go back to the first law. We refer back to the first law. And the first law of do no harm. If you have malicious intent to do harm, and that see, here's the thing too, is something was said in chat, and I love you, Stone, but the part about that you were talking about when they go out and they hunt, and then after they kill, they ask if it was okay for the animal to come and sacrifice. That's not what they do, at least not in the tribal culture that I'm from. They give thanks to the animal for giving up its life that they took. They give it honor. They don't just kill it and then stick the head up on their wall and say, hey, I was a good guy, look at what I got. And they use every part of that animal. They don't waste. It's maybe not acceptable to people, but when you go to the grocery market and you pick up that little thing of ground beef and you take it home and you make a hamburger, did you give thanks for the sacrifice that cow made? Do you give thanks to the chicken leg that you're barbecuing on the grill? We should be conscious and thankful for the sacrifices that are made to us in any way that it's done. We don't go out and hunt now, but we still go to the grocery market and take what has been taken in a very dishonorable way, so everybody's going to eat. If you don't eat, then you're going to be eaten, that's the way of life. That's the cycle of life. If you don't eat, you will die, you will return to the earth, and you will come back as above, so below. But nothing lives unless something dies. That's the way of life. And just saying.
At one point, as a cameraman, I was involved with a show that went on to go on to APTN, Aboriginal People's Television Network in Canada. When I lived there, I was the main cameraman, and we were on a moose hunt, Mi'kmaq style. And very quickly, I wish I could tell the whole story, but this producer who was giving me orders, he didn't have a soulful bone in his body. They just killed the animal, and they have to do a ceremony to thank the animal for giving its life, like Patty just said. And they take out their sacred pipe, and they smoke a bowl of tobacco, and they blow the tobacco into the nostrils of the animal that they just killed, so that it can rise and take the animal's soul up to Creator, and to really let the people, let Creator know that, we're thankful for this animal that gave its life. The producer was so busy trying to tell me to, move in on the animal, move in on the pipe, move in, go around the animal. He was so adamant that it took so long that the animal started bloating. And it got really, really upsetting for me. And this is what threw me into spirituality even more, because I was on the wrong side. I should have been with the Mi'kmaq praying for the animal. And I realized that. And that's one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had, because, they were not allowing the sacred to be sacred. You're not even supposed to be filming or taking pictures of anything that's sacred. And there he was. Get in there, Luke. Open his mouth or do something. Get in there, and totally the polar opposite of the spirituality that was going on. And I was completely horrified. But that was one of my first lessons. And that taught me about, how to do a spirit plate. You take a little bit of everything that you're eating at one point or any time during the day. Some people do it all the time when they eat. And you put it on the plate and you go outside, and with a prayer you thank Creator for what you have to eat, and you give it back to Mother Nature. Simple as that.
In the chat, everything that we ingest is a sacrifice. Even water holds life, microbes. There is life within that water. Do you give thanks for the sacrifice of those microbes as you drink them? The plants, the apple that you pick from the tree and you eat, the wheat that you harvest from the field, do you give thanks to that plant or that apple for the sacrifice it made so that you could live? This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm trying to get across, is that we're not some special creation that has a right to just take whatever we want. We are part of the cycle of life, and in the cycle of life and death are the same thing. You cannot have one without the other. This is the only place that life and death exists, because there is no life or death on the other side. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. We can debate syntax. We can debate words and phrases. We can debate until the cows come home. But I know what my connection is, and it's okay that you don't. But I can see within my own system of faith, my own spiritual expression, I can see my connection to all that is, and I understand it, and I accept it for what it is. I don't see that there is a difference between us and the animal world in the way that we survive, because it's the way life survives in this existence that we have. And we can, there's people that say, well, you should just live on sunlight. Well, you should just, like you say, Darby, you should just live on H2O and make it distilled so there's no microbes in there. Well, let's just hope that everybody in the world can have distilled water so that they don't destroy any life. I can't follow that train of thought. I respect that you believe that way, and I would never, ever, ever, ever try to change the way that you feel. And if it works for you, that's beautiful and it's wonderful. But I don't see the usefulness in telling others that they're doing it wrong. I don't see the usefulness in telling people that they got it all wrong, because none of us have it all right. My daughter has an expression. She says, I tell people, look at my collection of books here of the people that know everything. And she's got a blank bookcase. And that's so right, We're just giving food for thought. Let's say that.
Yeah,
And
I think
in the sharing of it, I accept your food for thought and I take it in. But don't feel bad for me. Don't feel that I am in some way not living up to whatever standards or whatever, because it's okay. I'm okay where I'm at, and don't feel sorry for me. Don't think that if I don't change that I won't be okay, because I will be. You know, it's okay. It's okay. Just saying.
Cute. Number 8. Yes, Chris, did you have anything to add on number 7?
No.
No? Okay. Number 8, as we move on, never speak of others in a bad way. The negative energy that you put out into the universe will multiply when it returns to you. All people make mistakes, and all mistakes can be forgiven. Bad thoughts cause illness of the mind, body, and spirit. Practice optimism. That's something that Chris was just saying to me on Skype before we were on the show. He said to me, I honor your positiveness, and if anybody would have a right to be, angry or frustrated or whatever, I would be one of those because of my condition. Or angry with God is another one. I get a kick out of that one. There's so many different ways of looking at things, and I find myself to be so grateful for what I have, and it's just such a beautiful journey that I don't really care what happens. I'm just going to do whatever I can with what I have, and I'm going to keep giving. And ironically, the more the more disabled that I can become, the more I feel like giving, the more I feel how outwardly important it is for me to offer and to give unconditionally as much as I can. It's a state of being, I guess, and I'm just really proud to have arrived, because it was a really hard road, and it's even harder now to keep that road going, that sight, that you have your boat on a certain tack and you have to keep it, and life is going to keep throwing waves at you and tossing you over and trying to knock you off track. No, you got to stay on tack. And that's what I meant by sacrifice a while back, when I was saying that, the more you sacrifice, the more life means to you. And you find that, all the material stuff you have is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Just saying.
If I may add something to that, it's
please.
Just over 30 years ago, I had a terrible car accident, and through somebody else's fault, and I lost my leg in that car accident. My left elbow totally smashed up, so disabled, as they call it, for life. And lost my business because of it. Young family, and I at times I was angry, and through the healing process, altogether something like 8 months in hospital, rehabilitation center. But coming out of that process and the way I stand in it now, I wouldn't want to change anything. And that sounds a bit. Strange to people, but that experience in my life, it made, or that is part of what made me what I am now. And, if I look in the mirror, I think something to myself, well, you haven't done too badly. And you just cannot pick out bits of your life and change them. It's not a spoke out of a wheel, you take it out and you put a new one in. That's not how it works. And I realized because of that, bad thoughts, they cause illness of the mind. At first, for instance, the guy who caused the accident, I was very angry with him, and I was in a way, I was happy that he was badly injured as well. And very quickly I thought to myself, yeah, Chris, but, why should you be happy that he is injured as well? It doesn't help your case. That doesn't make it any better. So very quickly I managed to turn it around, because I realized it would make me sick, and give me an illness of the mind, and it would come back to me at some point. And it doesn't make me happier that he was badly injured, not at all. So, yeah, I can relate to this post and to what you just said, Luca, very well. Yeah.
Oh, Chris, that's why we love you. That's why that's your journey, and you also probably realize that the accident happened for a certain reason to transform you into the person that you are today. See, same thing for me. Same thing for me. In 1991, I broke my back, and I came very, very close to being a paraplegic for life. And the only reason why I didn't was because I practiced judo when I fell. And there you go. That started my whole humble journey of learning who you are and what your place is. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And I think, my whole life I have met some of the most interesting people who have, to me, had some of the most wackadoodle ideas about life. But I'm a wackadoodle, and I accept that, and I celebrate that. I don't have to.
I'm a wackanoodle.
I don't want to find fault. I want to find an understanding, because I know I'm connected. I know that I'm related. I know that we all are on this beautiful emerald planet here, sharing the same existence, And to me, the difference in every living thing, I can get the most extreme enjoyment out of watching a katydid go about its life. I've known him since he was about a 1/4 inch long praying mantis. And he was born right outside, and he lives on my porch. And me and him have had the most interesting conversations. I've got to watch him eat a fly. I've got to watch him change color and grow. And to me, life is just magic. And he's not like me at all. He's not like me at all. He doesn't look like me. He doesn't talk like me. He doesn't walk like me. He doesn't even live like I do. But I enjoy the heck out of him. And he is part of my family. And that's the way I feel about all life. I don't have to agree. I don't have to see things your way. I find life magical in every aspect, whether it's good or bad, whether it's, I don't mind seeing things that are upsetting, because it gives me an understanding that this is the world in which we live. It gives me knowledge that I can use to shape my world. We should never ever feel like we are more than or less than any other living thing. But we are unique, and that's the most beautiful thing. Go ahead.
Well, I think I'm going to have a talk with your praying mantis about the ripping off the head of the male after mating. We'll have to have a talk on that one.
The Black Widow.
Well, do you know that when praying mantises hatch, that the amount of them that hatch and the amount of them that are eaten by their brothers and sisters depletes the whole nest like 3/4. They have to run and hide really fast or they get eaten. It's quite interesting. Yeah.
Huh.
Some of the things you learn,
Beautiful. And I love you for that. I love you for being able to talk with the praying mantis. My friend Chris has a squirrel that he feeds. He goes out, and there's a branch that's almost, a branch that comes up so that the squirrel can come up and grab literally food out of his mouth or out of his hand. And nobody can do that in the family. Nobody can do that anywhere. He just has that connection with the squirrel. The squirrel comes down, and he gets the squirrel upset at him, and he rick at him, and they talk all the time, and it's something to watch. I've never seen it yet, but he keeps talking about his squirrel that comes down, and he feeds him, and he talks to him, and You know, I talk to butterflies. I was always taught that, you know, those are the grandmothers, and that the dragonflies are the grandfathers in the Salagi, the Cherokee tradition. And, you know, you say hello to them when they fly by. Oh, hello, you know, you're appreciated, the beautiful monarch, you know. So, yeah, it's all detail, you know, the appreciation of nature. It's all in detail. Just saying.
Yeah, yeah. I have to agree. You know, life is truly wondrous. I mean, if you think about it, just think about the different life forms that exist in your world, right where you're at, in your home. You know, the different kinds of life forms. It's amazing to me. It truly is that there is so much life, so diverse. It's amazing. But anyway, we digress, guys.
No, but that's number 9. That's exactly where we're going. We're going to number 9, which is what, Chris? You want to read that?
Yeah, nature is not for us. It is part of us. Nature is part of your worldly family. Yeah, I think we covered a lot of it already when we talked about point 8. You know, I said before, I grow my own vegetables. And I realize, you know, I don't do that much special to my plants, but they always seems to grow so much better than if I look at my neighbors and they say, oh, you know, you must have green fingers. I said, no, not really. It's I just fertilize it with horse manure and I plant it and it just grows. And I came to the conclusion that it's like if you have respect for nature, nature has respect for you. Yeah.
Chris, do you remember singing to the corn? Do you remember that one? I did a show, I think it was with you, about the, you know, Patty can tell us more than anybody else can, about the tradition of singing to the corn. They literally get on their knees, you know, when they're planting the corn or when they're harvesting it or when they're taking care of it or giving it water or whatever. They're singing. They sing to their crops and they just grow like. And I really believe, getting a little heavy here, but I really believe that your crops know your intent and the love that you have for it. And you don't have to sing. You're actually singing to it. If you're talking to it, I don't really know, but that's the communication.
Yeah.
You know, nature knows by the way you handle it if you respect it or not. It's all in intent, as we said so many times today.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I used to take care of a vineyard, and it was amazing because if you've ever grown grapes, you will see that they respond. They respond to you. They respond to your words. They respond to your touch, and you get that energy right back. You can feel their energy. It's so strong. It's really beautiful. It really is. Now, going on to number 10, which is, to me, my heart. This is the whole of everything to me. This is children are the seeds of our future. Plant love in their hearts and water them with wisdom and life's lessons. When they are grown, give them space to grow. This to me is so important, and making sure that they know their connection to life is so important to me. It is what instills in us that ability to see life as equal instead of us being over life, you know. I take my grandkids out, and we go out into the fields and we go herbing, and my children, my grandchildren, they respond to the plants. They see the beauty of them. They touch them. They pet them. You know, they talk to them, and the plants talk back. It's really, really beautiful. What do you guys think?
No, it must be such an honor for you to be able to give them that.
It is. It is. It brings joy to me. The energy that I get from my grandchildren when I see them out. I mean, it's like they're energized. They come to life. Every part of them is just full of vibrancy and full of joy. It's amazing to me. It really is.
Well, I can relate to that, Patty. I think even more so with my grandchildren than with my children. When my children were small, I had my own business, working hard. I hardly had time for them, to be honest. And now with my grandchildren, I got more life experience, and you know, we go through all these wonderful things that I got now more time for it, and you know, they love it, I love it, nature loves it, and it's not just nature, but also other things in life. You know that. They ask me, for instance, about my disability, so then, you know, we talk about that, and what it has taught me, and yeah, we can give them so much wisdom by sharing.
Beautiful. Well, I've got to dedicate what we're talking about on number 10 to my son, who basically wants nothing to do with me because of what I believe or what I post on Facebook or what I'm trying to do on shows like these, and to tell him that I love him and that he knows where I am, and whenever he wants a father and whenever he wants to know who his father was or is, he can contact me anytime. But I've lost my entire side of my brother's family to my life mission, to what I believe is right, to what I think I should be doing, which is, of course, as we know, it's contrary to popular belief, and it's conspiracy theories, and it's this and it's that. Well, you know, I'm here for them, and I pray for my one and only son that I don't see anymore, that I haven't seen in I don't know how many years, and that's my prayer to him. That someday we will be reunited, and that, you know, that's exactly what I'm doing now. I am giving him space to grow. Believe it or not, some people would call it tough love. Some people would say that I don't care, and I should be over there, and I should be this, and I should be that. And my answer to all of that is no. I'm not going to run after anybody, and I wouldn't want them to do the same. So, you know, I want to surround myself with people that love me and that are interested in who I am, not people who are trying to change you and telling you, you know, you stupid idiot, you shouldn't be believing that, and what are you doing? And no. So, you know, another...
You can't do that to him either, and that's what you mean when you say you're giving him space to grow. You cannot make another person believe what you want them to believe.
No,
they have to. That's their choice, and they have their own experiences and lessons. You know. Yeah.
Very painful, but what can you do? Yes, and he knows I love him too. Number 11. Avoid hurting the hearts of others. Tahoe. There's a lot in that one. The poison of your pain will return to you. The poison of your pain will return to you. Karma. Absolutely. Chris, you want to be the first one to comment on that one?
Yeah, I think quite a few things of this we covered already. That's sort of also what I tried to say. The poison of your pain. When I had that accident, and at first I was pleased that the man who caused the accident was injured as well. I realized very soon, after a couple of days, because that pleasure when you know, it just kept mulling over in my head, and I started to look at it, and I realized it was poisoning me, indeed. And therefore, when I realized that, I didn't speak to, I spoke to him later, not at that time, but in my mind I sort of apologized to him for being pleased that he was injured, and turn it around into praying for him and in my mind wishing him well and a good life. And almost straight away it sort of made me a feeling of being good feeling. If you understand what I mean. And I think that's sort of the essence of it.
If you put it in common day terms, if you you have angst against someone, you carry it with you.
Exactly.
And your body carries it, and your mind carries it, and your heart carries it, and your spirit carries it. And we know what that does. Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean. You say it a lot better than I do, but yeah.
No, she's wonderful at that.
Yeah. Very much.
Anyway, 12. Be truthful at all times. Honesty is the test of one's will within this universe. And I truly believe that, because when you are dishonest, your dishonesty, it belongs to you. The person that you are dishonest with, they may walk away and never realize that you were dishonest. But you will always know and carry that with you. And it's just the same as carrying that poison,
Like Chris with his 2 hooks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was Julian Assange. He said at some point somebody, and he had hundreds of thousands of leaks that he posted, and they never could catch him on one lie. He had several court cases, and somebody brought something to him. I cannot remember who and exactly what it was, but he was not 100% convinced that it was true. And Julian Assange said to him, no, I'm not going to leak this, because if one turns out to be a lie, then people can question all the other leaks, because if I lie once, I can have lied all the other times as well. And I think that is very true. So, he didn't leak it. It turned out to be right later, but I do understand exactly what he meant. It's so important that you have to be truthful indeed at all times.
Yeah, you're compromising your not responsibility, your reputation.
Yeah.
You spend 30 years building your reputation, and you can ruin it in 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Hey, Luca.
Yes.
13.
Okay, I was just going on it. I'm on it, darling. Keep yourself balanced. Your mental self, spiritual self, emotional self, and physical self all need to be strong, pure, and healthy. Whew, that's a big one. Work out the body to strengthen the mind. Grow rich in spirit, I think they meant, to cure emotional ails. Yeah, see, this is my journey. This is exactly what the third TERP procedure, the medical procedure to go in and shave down the prostate and the bladder and to do all kinds of other stuff that I had to go through. I had 3 of those back to back. And the more my body got weak, my spirit takes over and just gives it energy back. And it was like I felt them working together. How could they not? If you're in communication with yourself, if you're in contact with yourself, it's going to happen automatically, and it really has.
I have to agree. And the thing about balance is you never fully achieve it completely. You have to continuously work on it. Life is in flux. Life is flux. And your world is not static. And you move in amongst all of this. So to me, it's a constant upkeep, let's say.
Yes.
That you have to be conscious of. And as far as grow rich in spirit to cure emotional ails, we know that our abilities to be able to heal from the spirit, from prayer, and from conviction within oneself of being able to create healing, that it is possible. And we also see it, I've talked about it many, many times before, when you have prayer circles, when someone is at their supposed deathbed and people come together in prayer, they don't have to pray the same prayer. They have to come with the same intent. And
Exactly.
a miracle, quote, a miracle happens. Yeah, to me, that is what it's all about. Yeah.
And they talk about the 4 rooms. The 4 rooms being mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. And a balanced life is spending a few hours in each room every day.
Yeah.
Yes. Indeed. Indeed. And you got anything you want to add to that, Chris?
No, it's. I think we covered it all.
Yeah, we keep saying things over and over again. That's great. That means
Yeah.
we're right on.
Yeah, they are all more or less connected. I realize. Yeah.
Got that right.
Yeah.
Okay, number 14. Make conscious decisions as to who you will be and how you will react. Be responsible for your own actions. We should always make sure that when we speak, that our words are something that will promote healing, promote joy, promote an enlightening, promote uplifting of another. And our actions speak for themselves. It doesn't matter what your intent is. If you speak the words and you act in a different manner, then you have discredited your own self, and others will not take you for who you truly are. So we have to be responsible for our own actions. We can't always look back and say, hey, so-and-so made me do it, because nobody ever makes you do anything. You always have a choice. You may not like the choices you have, but it's always your choice, Just saying.
And I think the thing is, Patty, as well, if you don't take responsibility for your own actions, you're going to make the same mistake, maybe in a slightly different way again. Because if I blame somebody else for a mistake that I made, then I'm telling myself that I did not make a mistake. So if it happens again, I will keep on making the mistake until I see, Chris, you have to take responsibility for what you've done if you want to move forward to the next step.
Yeah, and if you don't learn the lesson, you're going to keep going over the same thing over and over and over and over. That's how it works.
Yeah.
It's like me having to learn the lesson of patience over and over and over and over. I always learn it in a slightly different manner, so I'm not getting the whole thing, I don't think, because it turns around, I have to learn it over again, I catch myself all the time. It's one of those lessons that I think I just like it. I enjoy it or something. I don't know, because throughout my life, I have always patience, I got it. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. No, I don't. Something.
Yeah.
I got it when I don't need it, but when I need it, I don't have it.
Such low.
Yeah. I just got to learn it over and over and over. Okay, who wants to take 15?
Yeah. Respect the privacy and personal space of others. Do not touch the personal property of others, especially sacred and religious objects. This is forbidden.
I think that's so.
Want to say something, Luca?
That sounds pretty strong.
Yeah.
But I'd like to have Patty say what she thinks first.
Well, I do think that the "this is forbidden" is a little strong. I'm sure
Yeah.
it is forbidden somewhere, but it's. I do agree that you should always respect the privacy and personal space of others, and I have no qualms about not messing with people's property and I would never ever take it upon myself like to touch someone's eagle feather or their ceremonial pipe without their consent or anything. To me, that would be very bad. Yeah, that's about all I got on that.
Yeah, I think that's what they meant by religious, or sacred items. It's like, it's forbidden, which is, it's. I think we should be harder on ourselves. I really do. I think that word should be actually normal talk, because if we're outright, if we're what's the word? If it's slander to us, or if we're insulted by it, then it really should be for us. We really need to hear it. And I have a friend in town here. There's all kinds of arrowheads that the Mississippi River is uncovering all the time. And one person came in for coffee with arrowheads, and they went around the table. And when it came to him, he said, I'm not touching them. And they moved over him to the next person. And I didn't even have to ask him why, because I knew why. Because you don't know who owned those. It could have been a bad person. It could have been bad energy. It's that's what I think they mean by forbidden. It's a little harsh word, but I think that's what they mean. It's you're attracting like bad karma to yourself potentially. So.
And that's the way with artifacts too, that people find and belong to a certain tribe, and it's known that certain tribe, and they'll try to sell it to people. I've seen that before, and it's crazy to me that that's sacred to that tribe, and here you are trying to make a buck. Give it to the tribe. I don't know.
We're going to revisit that number 18. Yes. Chris, did you want to add something to 16?
No.
We haven't done 16 yet.
I mean 15. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Understood. Because
okay.
You want to cover 18, and I'm just looking at the clock now.
We're running out of time.
We're doing good. We're doing good. Yeah. 16. Be true to yourself. You cannot nurture and help others if you cannot nurture and help yourself first. Tahoe. That's, how many times have we heard that in our life?
Yeah.
That one explains itself. Yes.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah.
And it's like, be true to yourself. Someone's they tell you, oh, come on, let's do this. Come on, you can do this. Come on. And you know that you don't want to do it. You know that it's something that is adverse to your system of belief or whatever. And you don't want to do it. And no, come on, you can do it. It ain't gonna hurt. No, you have to be true to yourself. You have to, Just saying. 17. Respect others' religious beliefs. Do not force your beliefs on others. Self-explanatory.
Yes, and I just want to throw a really good one in there. How many people have ever seen a Native American try to convert somebody else to their spirituality? And the answer is no, I've never seen that before. You know why? Because when you're happy with something and it serves you well, the last thing you want to do is to push it on others and, make others see what you have. And to me, that's it's weakness to do that. What the missionaries did. You'll never see a Native American trying to convert a missionary. It never happened because they were so content with who they were and how they thought and how they lived. Why try and make somebody else think what you think? It's really cool, and that's one of the first lessons I learned about spirituality.
think it's a misunderstanding of who we truly are. And if it's when we have our, you call it religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, and they are right with us, we don't have any qualms with someone coming up and asking us about it, and we express to them how we feel and what it means. That's acceptable because they've come and they've asked. But you don't go out and you don't say, hey, you, come here, you got to learn this. I need you to do this, or you're a sinner, or you're going to die. You're going to burn in the pit of hell if you don't if you don't convert. Yeah. You can't force your beliefs on another person because they're your beliefs. They're not anybody else's. And as far as the tribal people, and it's not just Native Americans, it's tribal people.
Yes.
Their cultures, they are a way of life. It's not a religion. It's the way they live their life.
Yeah.
It's a life walk. It's not something that they would ever consider to be something you have to learn. It's inherent in who they are. They don't have to force that on anybody,
Yeah, I think that's a very important point. It's a way of living. Your beliefs.
Yes.
In every
Yeah,
aspect of your life.
It's a 2-hour show. Just that number 17. It's a 2-hour show in itself.
Yeah.
Number 18. Share your good fortune with others. Share your good fortune with others. Watch the words. Participate in charity. Be willing to give back to the people so that the people will live. I got a real problem with that one because there are people who, how can I say that? They're wannabe Indians, okay? They're preparing a beautiful weekend for people. People are coming around from all over the place. $5,500 for a weekend per person. And the person that told me that, I said, say what? $5,500 they're charging per person. And there are people that, they believe them. The higher price that they pay, the better it's going to be.
Yeah.
Building sweat lodges and doing Native American ceremony and charging people $5,500 for the weekend. Hello? That's like no better than Russell Means and his gang in Lakota country saying to a Japanese person that he can pay $3,000 and hang from the tree. No problem. There's nothing that disgusts me more than that. It really doesn't. And, it's... I couldn't believe it, and these are the people that are proclaiming to clean houses, to clean, to get rid of the bad spirits and in empty houses before you move in, or in people's houses when they ask them to come over, and they one person goes in back somewhere where nobody sees them and they throw things like, a lamp or a chair around. And then the people in the other room say, oh, the spirits are getting angry, and yes, they will be leaving, and they're completely deceiving in what they do. And that's fine with them. Not a problem. And these people call themselves spiritual. And I'm sitting here being shunned by all those people, and I don't mind saying that I'm more content with my spirituality than ever. And I will not have anything to do with those people because of it. So
I've had the same same thing. People approach me and tell me, you should sell that. You should put a higher price on that. People won't. My writings, so you should put a high price on that because people won't think it's worth it if you don't. And I'm like, what? What? It's like. Where does that logic come from?
Patty, but before Chris says what he thinks on this, I'm going to say it again. At this point in my life right now, I can say that I'm proud to be shunned by the spiritual masses, quote unquote, and by those who proclaim their nonsense, while I quietly and sacredly seek my own way, unlike the masses. It's like polar opposite. And when these people met me, they said to me, "Oh, you have such potential. You have such good potential." And these are the people that are just trashing the old ways, the most sacred of traditional ways that there could be. It's abhorring, to say the least.
I just wanted to add to that too. It's across the board. It's not just with Native Americans. I've known a lot of people professing to be Buddhist, who are some of the most hateful and argumentative people, manipulative people. I've met Christians who profess to be Christians who will judge you for every little thing while they're sitting there on their sack of sins. So yeah. It's commonplace in this material world for people to want to make a buck, and what better way to do it than to go the spiritual route, because so many people are seeking. So man, what a racket! How lucrative can it be? Just saying. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, it's in a way it's very sad, but this was a Japanese company, and I think it was some sort of radio they had for absolutely bottom price. I cannot remember the price. Let's say $10 or whatever, and they didn't sell. So they had a board meeting, and they said, "What are we going to do? Lower the price, maybe even more?" And one of them said, "No, we're going to charge, let's say, $50. Oh, but then we never sell them. I said, "No." He said, "Trust me, $50 because people don't value it if it's cheap." And they upped the price and they were selling. So, Patty, what these people said to you, I'm afraid they do have a point. If it's cheap, then people don't respect it, and it cannot be something good because it's cheap, and if it's expensive, it has to be good. It's very sad, but it's the way the world works.
Yeah, that's exactly why they can charge so expensive for their weekend. And
the thing of it is that people have taken my writings, and they always ask me. They say, "Is it okay if you can use anything of my writing? You don't even have to put my name on it. You can take it and you can use it." And I don't have a problem with that. I don't care. I really don't care. When I write these things, I write them because I have a desire to do so. I am driven to write. It's what I do. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't want to make money. I don't need to make money. I have everything I need. But I am quite content.
I don't mean that you should ask a higher price, but what I'm trying to say is that the Western population overall, they seem to think that something is cheap, it cannot be good. I think, in my opinion, you do it right, Patty, because it's you want to share it with people, and but what this person advised you, standing in their shoes, I can sort of understand what they're saying. But unfortunately, it seems to work like that. If there is a piece of art and it would be for $50, then people don't appreciate it. If it's $10,000, then all of a sudden it's beautiful and whatever. It's
ego. It's ego, and it's the use of money. Yeah.
I got this rock that I found, and it's got 10,000 little fossils in it, and it is one of my prized possessions, and I didn't pay a thing for it, and I love it. It's one of my most precious things that I hold it in my hand and I look at it, and it just brings me joy, and I didn't pay a thing for it. I'm just I don't understand the concept of money. I've never had a problem with in fact, Mark will tell you, I give money freely. If you need it, here. If I got $1 in my billfold and that's what you need, here, go ahead. I don't care. Because Creator's always provided for me. He always will provide. And the thing of it is that if we live our life, we should live it the way we choose. And if you want to make money, that's your choice. I'm not going to fault you for it. Go ahead, do it. But, accept the fact that some people don't live that way, and it's okay. Some people, they do things in a different manner. We're all different, and that's the beauty that we should be celebrating instead of pointing out how different we are. We should be celebrating how different we are, And I just want to let everybody know, coming up, top of the hour, you know it, it's Lizzie, and I call it the Love Bubble. She has a different name for the show, and I'm not on where I can get to it. Maybe I can. Hold on a second here. Did Gaz put up the new name? Nope, it's still the Love Bubble. So I'm still technically correct on site, so just saying. But you want to make sure that you stick here on People for People Radio or peopleforpeople.ning.com, because Lizzie's show is beautiful. She is beautiful, and we could all use a little time in Lizzie's love bubble. So just saying. Anyway, go ahead, guys.
My friends Chris and Amy brought me to the riverbed to show me what it's like to hunt for geodes. To look respectfully for geodes, to have your tobacco with you, and in a completely different way than trying to, rape nature of what it has. And we're walking by the riverbed, and I find this half of a rock filled with mud. And I knew it was a geode by looking at it. Of course, they said it was, and I brought it home. And with a toothbrush, I got all the mud out, and now it's the most beautiful, sparkling, small rock that I've ever had. And it's sparkling with what look like diamonds inside, but of course they're crystals, and they're very, very small, but they're really brilliant in the light. And that's my favorite rock, and it's thanks to them. And it's just a way of honoring them in the show, and I'm gonna top it off with that. And I just want to say thank you for everybody, to everybody for putting up with us and for listening to us, and for to you, Patty, for having us on the show. And we miss Barb, and hopefully we'll get to be with her again real soon.
Yeah, hopefully she'll be on tomorrow for her reading. So check back tomorrow. I think she's on at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I may be wrong. Check the schedule. Anyway, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, and so had I probably about 10 years ago. My granddaughter, and you should have seen the look on her face, she had this special pebble. She gave it to me. Granddad, I got a present for you. And the look on her face, she was waiting for my reaction. I still got that pebble. To me, it's worth a fortune, so to speak, while it's just it's not just an ordinary pebble. It's a pebble that my granddaughter gave to me, and therefore it has a very special meaning. So I want to end with that, and thank everybody for listening to us. Thank you, Patty and Luca, for putting up with me, and till next time.
Been a pleasure to have both of you on, and we'll see you on the other side, folks. We love you. Good night.